So we're going to be working in section 1.2, but we're going to need to review some steps for solving equations from Algebra 1. So when you're working with solving equations, your first step in the process is to simplify the equation. So when we look at the first one, we're always looking for a couple of things. We're looking for parentheses. The first problem doesn't have any parentheses. And we also look for like terms. Remember, like terms will have the same variable. Or they'll be our constants. These are the ones with no variable. So in our first one, when we're looking at like terms, we're going to look at each side separately. So on the left side, we have a constant and a variable. On the right side, we have a variable and a constant. So there are no like terms and no parentheses. So step 1 is complete. So now we're going to go to step 2. Step 2 is our addition and subtraction. So we need to remove all of the addition and subtraction. So there is an addition on the left and a subtraction on the right. So I'm going to start with the x's. So there's an x on each side. So I'm going to use addition or subtraction. So I'm going to pick the smallest one and do its opposite. So I'm going to subtract the x. I still have the 14. 3x minus 1x is a positive 2x. We bring down the equals and we still have minus 16. There's still addition. This time we're going to deal with the 14. And the opposite of a positive 14 is a minus 14. So this is going to cancel out. We're going to have our 2x, and negative 16 minus 14 is a negative 30. Now we have no addition on the left and no addition or subtraction on the right. We go to our next step in the process, which is our multiplication and division. We have multiplication by 2, so we're going to remove it by dividing by 2. You're always using the number attached to the x, and when we get finished with this, our x is going to equal negative 15. If you check and put the negative 15 back into the problem, the left and right should give you the same answer. Problem 2, we start out and there is a set of parentheses. So the first thing we're going to need to do is distribute this negative sign through this set of parentheses. So everything else stays the same. We have our 12x, we have our plus 2, we have our minus 3x, we have our equals, we have our 10, and then we distribute. Negative 1 times positive x is a negative 1x, and negative times negative gives us a positive 2. The next thing is our like terms, and on the left side, we have like terms of 12x and 3x, and on the right side, we have like terms of 10 and 2. So on the left side, we combine 12 minus 3 to get 9x and keep the plus 2, and on the right side, we do the 10 plus 2 to get 12 and keep the minus 1x. So next step, we have it simplified. We go to our addition or subtraction. In the previous problem, I took and did one step for each calculation. We can actually do them both in the same step. So when I'm working with the x's, I'm going to choose the 1x and do its opposite. So I'm going to add. So that's going to get rid of my subtraction on the right side. And on the left side, I can get rid of the 2 by subtracting 2. So I'm getting rid of one calculation on each side of the problem. So I'm doing 2 steps in one. So unlike the previous problem where I dealt with the x and then the constant, I can deal with them at the same time. 9 plus 1 is 10x, and 12 minus 2 is 10. No more addition and subtraction. We finish with our multiplication and division. To get rid of times, we're going to divide both sides by the 10, and our x is equal to 1. So our next example, we start with our parentheses, and we have parentheses on each side of our equation. We're going to distribute the 3 on the left, and we're going to distribute the 2 on the right. So this is going to be 3x plus 12. We keep the minus 6x. We keep the equals. 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4x. Next step in the process is our like terms. On the left side, we have a 3x and a negative 6x, but on the right side, we have a constant and a variable, so nothing to combine. So we combine our like terms on the left. 3x minus 6x is a negative 3x. We keep the plus 12, we keep the equals, we keep the 8, and we keep the minus 4x. Next is our addition and subtraction. I choose whichever variable has the smaller value when I'm dealing with my x's. So I'm going to add 4x to both sides. That's going to get rid of the subtraction on the right. And I'm going to subtract the 12 on the left side. So 3x plus 4 leaves me with 1x, and 8 plus or minus 12, so it looks like a plus. 8 minus 12 is negative 4, and there is no multiplication or division, so our x in this one is just negative 4. So make sure you follow your steps for solving equations.